Okay, I think. Hey, everybody. Uh, I'm Kelly Johnson with KEIRUS, and I'm joined by great partners, Latasha Heron-Bruff and Devin Owens-Toller. Welcome. We're here to talk about all things navigating this DEI climate right now, and we just wanted to come and have real conversations. Devin, you want to say hello? Tasha, say quick introduction so everybody knows who we are.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Devin Owens-Toller. I lead operations and analytics at KEIRUS by KJE. My background is in the academic space, PhD in diversity and equity in education. Really excited to have this conversation today and give you a sneak peek into Evolve.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Latasha Heron-Bruff. I am the Senior Vice President of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement for the Dallas Regional Chamber. I've been there very close to 3 years now. Background in real estate, nonprofit management, community engagement, DEI, and my job is really to work with our business community in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we create a region that's the best place to work, live, and do business for all people. So thank you for having me.
Latasha, we're so grateful for your partnership. I'm grateful for you to be here, carve out time today to just come and talk to our LinkedIn audience and really just kind of provide a little bit of a preview into where things are right now as DEI practitioners. All of us spend a lot of time talking to DEI practitioners, those sidebar conversations, talking to senior executives about this current climate, which is very tough to navigate. And yet I feel like we might not be having the real conversation. And for those who are joining us and may not know as much about my background, I'm the founder of KEIRUS by KJE. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. Was in a chief diversity officer role for a Fortune 500 company. And for the last 8 years have had the privilege of working with a number of clients, kind of those mid-sized to Fortune 500 organizations in all things DEI, training, strategy, consulting, leadership development. And so where we are right now today, as I think many of us are trying to figure out how do we navigate the anti-DEI climate. I mean, let's be real. There are legislative and judicial decisions that have been made that really impact our ability to do this work effectively and to do it in the way that maybe we've done it in the past. And so when we get together at KEIRUS Evolve on September 12th, which I hope you all will join us for that, what we really want to do is go beyond the surface, right? And even move beyond those sidebar conversations that a lot of us are having, but come together in community to talk about this in a very strategic way, in a way that allows us to keep things moving forward. So what would you all add to that in terms of the need for real conversations right now?
Well, I love that. You know, the three of us have talked about that sidebar. You talk about these sidebar conversations. And I'm going to have a real conversation right now, is that I'm in a public place. So you may hear a little background noise, but technology sometimes fails us and we have to shift. You know, I think it's time. This is a relevant topic. All of us are touched by the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And, you know, one of the things we talked about is for a DEI practitioner is we need to check in on our people, right? We need to check on our folks who have had, you know, shouldering a lot of this work. The folks that are leading the work, the folks in our companies and our organizations. And it's really time to just level set. How are we? How are we doing? What are we worried about? What do we think the future looks like? And I think this is great for us to have this collective conversation to refuel, re-energize, recommit to the work of diversity and inclusion, because that need is still ever present. And so I'm just happy that Evolve is happening and that we are partnering with you all, because you all do the work. We should be thanking you for what you're doing. And I think it's necessary.
Thank you, Tasha. We really appreciate that. I think what I would add is really providing practitioners with the space and opportunity, pun intended, but to evolve, right? So the opposition that we're facing right now, the kind of backlash that we're facing right now, it isn't really all that new. And all, we look back at civil rights leaders and all the things in history. We've always had to reimagine, to adapt, to change our approach, to really get the work done and to really make change. And I think that some of us can kind of fall into the woe is me, or, oh my gosh, this is too much, or the burden, the pressure. We see headlines on a daily basis, on our phones, on our computers, on our iPads, and it can really start to mess with our mental state, right? So really us having the carving out the space to put our phones away, be in a space with like-minded individuals to really strategize and figure out how we really kind of counteract and what's our game plan moving forward. Because this is only a barrier or a bump in the road. We know that DEI isn't going anywhere. We know the importance of it to the business and community. So really taking the time to create the strategy and plan to continue the movement.
I love what you all are saying, and some things that I feel like I'm seeing within our own DEI practitioner community is, and I get it, so this might sound critical, but I understand where it's coming from. And that is this: we're good at sound bites. We're good at sort of the quick encouragement, maybe inspiration, or quick even data points, right? So for those who lead with our hearts, we might give inspiration. For those who are very analytical, we think a little bit more with our heads, we might provide some really salient data points. And we're doing that in passing, right? But we're moving fast, we're going quick. And I think that it's time to go beyond the surface. It is time to have real conversations about how are we doing this? And I love, hi Fatima, so great to have you here. Welcome, Vana. Thank you for joining the conversation. This is fantastic. You all are joining at such a great time because those quick motivational moments, those quick inspirations, or those quick data points are helpful. But in order to be strategic, we've got to put in more time. And I think also really call the spade and address the proverbial elephant in the room. So what thoughts do you all have about how we're going to do that at Evolve? And then even later that day with State of DEI, hosted by the DRC, which is why I'm so glad that our friend Latasha Heron-Bruff is here from the DRC in our partnership. So what would you all add about kind of what you're seeing in terms of even the way, like, I think we have to look in the mirror ourselves as DEI practitioners, because it's time to take a little bit of that polish off.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that we do, and you all have been a part of this, we have a DEI Leaders Connect group, and we have what we call these small lunches where we get to talk to our DEI leaders, kind of in a smaller group. And there is concern, but I'll tell you, there are organizations and companies that are still committed to this, right? And so I think part of it is we need to be talking about it in an affirmative way, right? We have to be carriers of this message. We have to be advocates. We have to be champions. So as DEI leaders and professionals, we have to make sure that we're coming from a place that shows strength and commitment, but also gets real, right? And we have to make sure that we're having these real conversations in the spaces that we hold. And I think this is why Evolve is timely. And this is why people want to come to this event, because they want to talk about just what you're talking about here right now. And to be able to get to the root and do the real work, there has to be an acknowledgement of where we are to get to where we're trying to go. So I think this is all very important right now.
Yeah. And I think to kind of expand on that and to both of your points, it's really equipping ourselves with the knowledge and the tools and skills that we need to create these strategic plans. So for example, we talk a lot about data. We talk a lot about using data in DEI, but how are we using that data? How are we telling the stories of the employees that are in our organizations? And then how are we then connecting that back to the business strategy, the DEI strategy? So really making sure that we are creating that holistic action plan to really take the work forward. So using that data, making sure we have the right resources that we need, and building those relationships. You're on mute, Kelly.
Thanks. Yes, I love the conversations that we're even having in the chat. So we've got Fatima here, we've got Damika here. Welcome. Thank you so much for contributing to the conversation. We've got Vana as well. And I love what Fatima is saying in terms of, in this work of doing DEI, and I talked about this on a recent podcast episode for 24 KEIRUS, but we are so others focused. I think it's like that invisible bullet point on the job description when it comes to doing this work, right? Like it's there because I don't think I've ever met a DEI practitioner who is not heavily others focused. And so we forget to take care of ourselves and we forget to be vulnerable about where we personally are. And so thank you for calling that out, Fatima. And yes, Damika, it's all about real change. Love it. Anything else y'all want to build on that?
Well, I couldn't agree more with you, Kelly. If we're going to get to real change, we got to make sure that we're taking care of each other, that we're taking the time to check in on each other. A friend of mine sent me a text the other day that said, I have to check in on my strongest friends, because sometimes you take for granted that the people that are the strongest in your life, that they're okay. And sometimes we got to check in on those people too. And to do this work, it's not easy. It's necessary. It's not easy. So we all, this is great to be able to have Evolve that creates this community of like-minded individuals where we can have this safe space in this conversation. So I think spot on.
Yeah, that just made me think about, we all know that a lot of organizations have small DEI teams, right? There's a team 1, 2, 3. And I think it can be easy to get used to doing it all by yourself all the time. And so then making the time to really step outside of your organization to ensure that you have that network of people that can support you, that you can learn best practices from, that you can share your best practices with. But really making sure that we are all collaborating as a larger team, as an external team outside of our silo kind of individual organizations. I think that will really help us propel the movement when we're all on the same page as well.
Yeah. And I know we're getting ready to run out of time if we don't keep going. I think this is probably a good idea that we're starting this preview of KEIRUS Evolve now, because I'm realizing we have a lot to talk about, and we have 3 hours together on September 12th. So if you have not registered yet, make sure that you use the link in the chat to be a part of KEIRUS Evolve. And bonus points or bonus tips, if you register today, we're having a flash sale where we have provided the deepest discount on KEIRUS Evolve at only $99. So act fast, use the link in the chat. This is what you're seeing right now is a preview. We are going to be having great speakers from Takeda Pharmaceuticals, Alchemy Technology, Sabio Holdings, and WebPT, senior level executives who are carving out time to share their thoughts on the strategies that are needed to navigate this climate, but also more importantly, to provide the strategic tools and frameworks that we can use to continue to advance this work. But bonus feature of KEIRUS Evolve, I know we go to a lot of conferences where we are talked at, We are building and designing KEIRUS Evolve, where you will have peer conversations. You will get to talk to each other in a guided way so that it's productive, because we like to be productive and efficient. But we will be helping you really walk away with an action plan and tangible steps that you can take using the 5 strategies that we're going to talk about that you need to successfully navigate this climate. So, Devin, you want to just talk a little bit about the flavor of the experience of Evolve, and then Latasha will wrap up with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the spirit of Evolve is really about, as Tasha mentioned, creating that environment or atmosphere of care, and really kind of taking down the wall, right? Coming into a space where we're all family, for lack of a better word, but we're all kind of in this work together and on the same page. So we've really created a space where we will have entertainment. We will have great discussions. We will also have, some time to really reflect for those introverts in the room, but also time to really apply the things that you're learning and listening to so that you can take that back to your organization and really get back to work.
Well, let me say this. I'm going to start where you started from, Devin. We're having this event at the Holocaust and Human Rights Museum for a reason. It is not by happenstance, it's not by chance that we're having it there. This also marries with an exhibit that they're launching called Black Citizenship in the Jim Crow South. Now, think about that for a minute, because there are some parallels here to where we are now to our past. And I think really what we're talking about is how do we really think about these things that are difficult, that are hard, that we know that we'll get through, how it really impacts our present, but really what does it say about the future, not just of this work, but the future of our region, of our country, and how all of us have this collective energy and this collective opportunity to really come together to really impact real change. So I can't say enough about what you all are doing. I can't say enough about KEIRUS Evolve and the work that you all are doing. I just think everybody should be in the house on September the 12th.
Yes, yes. That's our closer right there. I felt a little bit of Michelle Obama closing technique.
Love it.
Woo! Okay, I felt
my
it.
name in the name with Michelle Obama. I'll take it.
Right. So thank you all both for coming on today. Just really quickly, we just feel like it's so important to go beyond the surface. And it's hard to see in a LinkedIn post that, oh yeah, that conference, it's not going to be more of the same. We want you to know Evolve is not more of the same. And we really want to be supportive, but we want to be strategic and practical and actionable for you, but in a very community building way. And that, if you're looking for that, you need to be at KEIRUS Evolve on September 12th at the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum, the perfect setting for this conversation. We are so honored to partner with the Dallas Regional Chamber and to really create a full day of an experience and wrapping up, culminating with the State of DEI conference. And then for the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum to host us, it really is a beautiful trifecta. So thank you, Latasha, for all the work you and your team are doing. We are always so honored to spend time with you because you are a busy person. And again, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Devin, really appreciate you and your contributions to all that we're doing at KEIRUS. Check us out, keirusglobal.com. See you all soon.